Oh, you are in the corner, man.
Unfortunately. Where?
Nah. Hello, people. Just give me a second. I want to make sure the stream's working.
Yeah.
I know I look strange with glasses, but I'm going as blind as a bat. It's what it is. God. Live. I need to make sure this is working. Oh, yeah, I've got to go somewhere else. I don't want to join YouTube Premium. Right. So make sure this is working. Everyone can hear me. Hold on. There's no sound coming out from my phone. Oh, what's going on here? Two seconds. I think it's my phone having a wobbler. Sound and vibration. Try that. Can I hear anything yet? Can I hear anything yet? Yep. Good. Well, that's weird, hearing my voice twice. Right. Hello, everyone. Spirit Hunters Paranormal here. I want to explain why I have been absent for at least a month. Now, I'm going to warn you all, this is an extremely depressing subject. So, on the 7th of July, I was contacted by my old mentor / teacher of the spirit world, warning me of an impending passing of someone I was once close to. And this is where it gets awkward. On the 10th of July, bear in mind this is from the spirit world, I got this message. On the 10th of July, I get a message from my mother saying that my father's in a very serious condition and he's been put on end of life care. And the reason I've not been making any videos is I've been going up and down to my mum and dad's house because my dad was put on end of life care. And unfortunately, he did pass on the 16th of July. And I've just been really like in my own world. I've been with my own thoughts. And, you know, what doesn't make this easy, you may recall I mentioned I had my own little War of the Roses going on. And it was with my father. We were not speaking for about, I don't know, 9, 10, maybe 11 months. Which makes this even more difficult. Because obviously, no matter what your differences with someone is, if it's one of your parents, you're not just going to turn your back when they're severely ill and dying. So I was going up and down there every day, trying to communicate with him, trying to get some response. I was even using like some of the old music he raised me on, such as Dire Straits, Mark Knopfler, Eric Clapton, Jerry Rafferty. You know, I'm a bit old-fashioned. Bruce Hornsby in the Range, again, old-fashioned, but oh well. And unfortunately, we couldn't get anything. Now, I was working with someone who has already commented, but I'm not revealing who she is. Because we were working together to try and get some communication, because we believed even on the 10th, he was between two worlds. He was stuck between the earth plane and the spirit plane. I'm not sure if that's still the case. I've been in touch with various mediums since his passing. A lot of them use the religious stuff, and I'm not about that. But I just thought I'd explain why the hell I've been absent. Because obviously my father's been dying, and obviously he has passed now. And it was really difficult for me because obviously we had fallen out big time last year, and yeah, it hit me hard when it happened. But what I do want to mention is he died of lung cancer, stage 4. Although when I last spoke to him on decent terms, I was told his lung cancer was in its infancy. So yeah, I'm a little bit peed off that no one told me it had advanced. Otherwise I would have gone up there a lot earlier and just settled our differences there and then. But unfortunately, that is what it is. That is fate. I was visiting for about 6 days because I started on the 10th. And obviously the last night, even on the 16th, I left about 10 o'clock. Unfortunately, he passed at 11:49. I was told by my mother. I immediately got my ass around there to say my final goodbyes, so to speak. But we did, me, my mother and Laurie did go to a spiritualist meeting. Not yesterday, that one kind of went wrong. But we went to one in Paynton. Now, we got a few messages through about some female figure from my side of the family, don't ask, who was really proud of me for what I do, which my mother thinks it's her Aunt Rose, which would be my great Aunt Rose, because she was into the paranormal and the spirit world and all that. So maybe. But there was also messages for other people which seemed very similar to my dad's condition at the time. For instance, there was someone who mentioned heavy breathing for someone else and holding their hand as they were dying, and also respiratory issues, which is what lung cancer is, obviously. And, you know, it was just really confusing because they all sounded like the messages might have been all for us, but the medium obviously couldn't just say, oh, it's all for them. I can't really give you any messages because there isn't none there. But I don't know. I am going to try at some point do a session at my parents' house. I've already spoken to my mother and I've tried to arrange something to do in that regard. I will go up there with equipment. I do actually have photos of where me and Laurie went a couple of weeks ago, and I took some photos of my full spectrum, so I will check them out shortly, see what I caught. I do know the triangle device went off. I had no camcorder running at the time. Obviously, that kind of thing would not be uploaded to YouTube. That is personal, and as such, stays so. But I just wanted to more explain why I've been absent. The events for this year are still going ahead. As far as I know, we're still going Shepton next month. Shepton Mallet Prison. We're still going to Dorchester Prison in October, and that Blimmin Castle in November in North Wales that I cannot bloody pronounce to save my life. But I just wanted to explain about what I'm going through and to why I'm absent at the moment. I did put a post on my page on Facebook to warn people I'm not in a right frame of mind right now to do anything. I am literally all over the place. I don't know if I'm coming nor going. And more importantly, I just want to make sure, even though me and my father had a problem with each other, that he has crossed over, he is safe in the spirit world and all that. Now, as I say, I have been in touch with a few mediums, but most of them give me the religious jibber jabber, which is not very helpful, you know. Oh, God, we'll take them up there. Oh, for God's sake, that's no good to me. I need to know, clear as day, is he safe? Is he up there? Is he happy? And so on. But I do intend to go to more spiritualist meetings. I'm hoping to go to one again at some point. I will look around in my area, because obviously I live in the Torbay area, and as you know, there's not much in Torbay. You know, we went to one in Paynton the other week, and it was all right. But as I say, there was mixed messages, because so many things that people were getting sounded like they were all for us, because it was all about like lung problems and back sores, which my dad did have. That's why he had an airflow mattress. Because he was told at the hospital that he'd have to go on end of life care, essentially. I wasn't there. I've been told this by various people. And from that day on, they basically gave him a choice. You can either go in a hospital, a hospice, or you can go home and have a hospital bed brought to your home for the purposes of passing away. He was given a syringe drive, and eventually, I believe they did up the dose on day 3, I think. Oh, God, I can't see shite without my glasses these days. I've also had to have glasses, as you can see. Right now, the TV screen's completely blurred. It's better. Yep. But it was a very traumatic experience, watching someone slowly losing a battle. I don't know if he heard me. I tried to apologise to him and sort shit out before the end, but whether he heard me or not is another story. I hope he did. I mean, I actually did give him my crucifix when he passed. I put it on him, and he had it in the funeral home and all that, but he was cremated on the 2nd of August, so literally a week ago. But yeah, it's not been a great time for me, and I've not really been doing much. You can see Laurie there in the corner. She's doing her diamond art. But what I'm focusing at the moment is family issues. Right now, my parents' house, particularly the loft, needs sorting out. There is piles and piles of junk up there that, for some reason, my father's collected. I mean, I don't get it personally. There's about, I don't know, 300 just empty water bottles. And when I say water bottles, I mean like the 5-gallon ones, you know, they got a big handle. You can buy them from most shops. And there's other junk up there like broken TVs, DVD players, fans, heaters, God, you name it. Plus he's got all his tools up there. And it's just been so chaotic for me, because I'm going back and forth every other day to my parents' house to try and help clear the loft, because my mother can't do it. She's 58. So she's nearly pensioner age. I'm a young man in my 32s, going on 33 this year. So it falls to me, which I don't mind, but it is getting a bit expensive in taxis. I'm not going to lie. But it is what we have to do when we lose someone. We have to buckle down and try and help out the best we can. But for the days I was going up there, he was totally catatonic. You know, I think I got a couple of smiles when I mentioned a few things that happened with me and my dad, such as when we were in Europe, and he was coming back from Poland and going back into Germany, because we did a Europe tour all those years ago. We're about to pull over at the side of a back road to look at the map, and there's this prostitute waving him down, and he's like, "Nah, screw that. We'll look at the map when we're in Germany, son." And he had a laugh about that, and he kind of smiled in his hospital bed when I mentioned that to him. So hopefully he heard me, because I will never know. I'm not a medium. I do want to look into training up for that, because then I don't have to rely on other people. I don't want to step on anyone's toes and take their job, but I would offer free mediumship to people. I wouldn't charge. I don't see why people do. If people can get a message and a bit of closure, then I don't know why people want to, profit on that. It's not really something I do, but I would definitely think I'm going to look into that, because then I can cut the middleman out, so to speak, and I can do it myself. Because it's not just like my father who's died. I've lost various other family members. I've lost my nan. I've lost my 2 dogs. I've lost a cat. Christ, what else? My granddad. I never met my mum's dad, but it is what it is. So, you know, I am definitely going to look into mediumship courses. Hopefully there is something out there that's suitable and can help train me up to do it, because just since he's died, I've been seeing weird things. Like my dreams every single day has been about him. You know, I can picture him now in his pink, not pink, his purple shirt. He'd get a laugh out of that if he's watching this. His purple shirt and his blue jeans and his brown boots, you know, and I can picture him like he's stood in front of me. And it happened as well at my mum and dad's house. Well, it was my mum and dad's. It's now just my mum's. And it's really, really, it's like he's trying to contact. But I don't know what to make out of his messages. For instance, I had a dream. This will be interesting for you, Elwich. I'm not going to try and pronounce your first name. I had a dream that me, my mother, and my sister were on a 31 bus. There is no, well, there is a 31, but it doesn't go up St Mary Church School now. It's now the 35C, I think. Can't remember. Anyway, I'm on the bus. I had to get off for some reason. I don't know why. And I've got 3 boxes. These boxes are about this high and that wide. They're not very big. And I'm carrying them. And I get off and I go to my mum and dad's house, which is in St Mary Church. And my dad sat in his armchair like he normally would. And even in my head, I'm like, what the fuck? And he says, all right, mate, how you doing? I was like, yeah, I'm all right. And he says, have you found it yet? I was like, no. He says, keep looking. You will. I'm not saying what he's telling me to look for, because again, that is extremely personal. And that is something that revolves around my family. And yeah, it's for us to worry about. I won't say what it is. But it's like he's giving me messages from the beyond. And my brain is acting on them. I also had a vision of him in the loft, stood in a certain section of the loft, which of course I went to investigate. And unfortunately, it's not where it was. But so it's just a case at the moment of me running up and down from my house in Hill to St Mary Church, trying to do all this shit, trying to get it done, clearing the bedroom, clearing the loft, because there's an awful amount of junk up there. I'm not going to sell anything. I've already told my mother she's not to sell my dad's tools because he was a carpenter. That was his trade by default. So I've told her not to sell them. And if she does, I won't be very happy. But, you know, it's just hit me so hard. You won't see me break down on live, but I have broken down in the funeral home and when his corpse was just laying on the bed in the lounge of his house, essentially, when I was allowed some alone time. But it is, I don't know how to describe it. Because we had such a strained relationship in the last 10, 11 months, it's rather conflicting. There is other stuff going on, which legally I'm not going to mention for the purposes it could hurt a case. But let's just say there was a little bit of neglect. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, someone else is dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not next to King, unfortunately. So I can't deal with that. But hopefully that progresses and we get some justice. But that's another story. For the moment, I will just be concentrating on making contact with him rather than doing investigations outside. But I will be back on that horse, so to speak, in September, obviously for Shepton Mallet. But as I said, I've had various dreams. That one I just mentioned is one. I had another one last night, which is so vivid. And it makes me angry because it makes me wonder if we could have saved him. So we're in the house. He's in his hospital bed, but it's pushed against the patio doors, which is weird because it was pushed against the downstairs cabinet. So kind of confused there. Anyway, he's just about to die. And then at the last minute, he comes back and he says, what's going on? And he puts his arm around me and we managed to bring him back. But unfortunately, that was just a dream. And I would have loved to have gone back to that dream. And I would love to have thought, oh, that's reality, but unfortunately not. Because, well, even if he was alive when he went in the funeral home, he would be a crisp by now because he was cremated on the 2nd. So I don't think it's possible anyway, because Rowcroft did all their checks with the blooming stethoscope and whatever to hear for heartbeat. I mean, they didn't check brain activity because the brain can live for another 8 hours, as science has found out after death. But it is one of those things, and there are several people that have helped me go through all this. One of them is my partner. One of them is my old neighbour Rob. So if he's watching, cheers, mate. I appreciate the help. And the other is, who also works in the spirit world, is, believe it or not, my own sister. I'm not saying who she is, but she has helped. Oh, that's another thing. I've got to have an argument on my group later. Well, not so much an argument, but a dispute. I'll tell you later. But it has been one hell of a rough month for me. I'm still not myself, but I am getting on with it. It's got a lot easier since he's been cremated. I'm hoping he's free and clear and everything's going to work out, but you never know with the spirit world. But my main concern at the moment, has he crossed over? Is he safe? And the one thing that is worrying me is he's stuck still, because both me and someone else, who I won't say who, thought he was stuck. But we don't know. Not for sure. And also, I've smelt him in this flat. I can smell the strong smell of incense constantly. I mean, I did save a couple of his shirts before they went on in the tip. Long story, but yeah, it's the first time I've seen a human die as an adult. You know, I don't even think I saw my grandfather die when I was a child. I knew he died. But at the last time we visited the hospice, which I think was in Exeter, I'm not sure, he said to my dad at the time, don't bring the children again, just come on your own, because obviously my granddad knew he was going to go. And that's what happened. But in this case, my dad requested to be at home to die with around his loved ones. His common-in-law wife, which is my mother, they weren't officially married because my dad didn't believe in marriage. And yeah, it's very upsetting, even when you've had a problem with someone. Honestly, I'm going to give advice to people now. If you've fallen out with one of your parents, for F's sake, sort it before it's too late. That will always haunt me, because I don't know if he heard me or not. I'm hoping he did, but I'll never know for sure, and that will always haunt me in here. And the window just closed.
No one touched it, and it's not windy.
I wonder if he's here. That's interesting. But
yeah, it's actually not windy.
I made my apologies to him on his deathbed. I said what I had to say. I even did it again at the funeral home, and left him some letters and some photos of our travels together when we had a bit of fun in Europe. and the UK, like Stonehenge and
When YouTube broke the telly.
Dartmoor Zoo, which is also known as Sparkwell. It's known as Dartmoor Zoological Park or something like that now. I don't know. I haven't been there for years. Left all photos like that in his coffin, and it was weird seeing him in a coffin. It was really weird. That hit hard. That hit especially hard when I visited him, because obviously at a funeral home you're allowed to visit someone, but you're only allowed to visit so many times before they're cremated. And I went one last time about, I think it was the Tuesday, and he was cremated the Friday. Yeah, 3 days before he was due to be cremated, and they even told me it is the last time that you can see him unless they were completely free of people visiting them. They couldn't do it. I said, yeah, I know. But I left my letter with him and what I wanted to say to him. I even read it out to him while I was with him, just in case he was hanging around, because that's where his body was. Don't know. And now it's a case of picking up the pieces and deciding what to do with the ashes. My mother's not quite made up her mind, nor have I, to be honest. I think we should grieve for a little bit and then decide what to do from there. But now it's a case of clearing out the house. When I say clearing out, I mean getting rid of the junk that was collected in the loft specifically, because specifically there is an awful lot of junk up in that loft. There is so much, I don't even know where to begin. I found cubes. I found, because I used to do work for Riley's when it was Riley's, it's now Galaxy. I found an ironing board skeleton. In other words, the ironing board frame, but not the ironing board itself, which was a little confusing. I found various heaters, TVs, DVDs, broken, bear in mind, juicers, what do you call them? Oh, God, I'm trying to think what the names are. Oh, I've lost my train of thought because my partner spoke to me. That's it. Steam cleaners. All sorts up there, and it's a right tip, and it's going to take us a couple of months to sort it, even with me going up there every other day. It's my day off today, so I thought I'd get this off my chest. But honestly, if you're due to come out with me or whatever on one of these investigations, if I'm not very chatty, this is why. Because I'm pissed off, really. I'm pissed off not with my dad anymore. That all left when he was put on end of life care. I'm pissed off. Nobody told me that it got this far. Mostly with my mother. She could have told me. She had my number. She had me on Facebook. She had me on WhatsApp, all that stuff. She didn't tell me a fucking thing. Because when I last heard, his lung cancer was in its infancy and it was treatable. Now I find out it was fucking terminal. So I'm very conflicted right now, and I do apologize for my language, but yeah, that is the situation. But as I say, if I don't seem chatty to people, don't take it personally. I'm just not me at the moment. I'm literally going to go to these events, do what I've got to do, get good footage, get some good evidence, go home. I might talk to a couple of people, you know, but essentially my thoughts are still with my father. And I'm still going to do some spiritual stuff now. When I say now, I mean like in a couple of days, maybe a week or a month, and try and connect with him. I've tried with various spirit boxes. I've tried with the SB7, the SB11, the S box, and there's another one I've got which I've totally forgotten. It will come to me. Either way, I've tried. And I will continue trying until I reach him. What was interesting is while he was slowly slipping away, because he was in like a coma state by the 11th of July, he only managed to barely speak to a member of the family on the 10th, but unfortunately by the 11th he was totally catatonic. So now what I plan to do is get over this. It's going to take a while because obviously it's your family, and you know, we all as teenagers, even as kids, we go, oh, parents, they're bloody nightmare. They control, but they're actually trying to keep us safe. They're actually trying to help us deep down, even if it doesn't feel like it. So what I'm going to do is just go through the motions, you know, get on with life, do what I've got to do this year for the investigations. I've got one investigation next year in April, and then I'm not going to disappear entirely, but I am going to be working on a few things. One is my driving, because I want to get that done, and I want to be on the road. My partner's doing hers this year, and hopefully she does well. And then I can be on the road, and then I'm going to look into mediumship courses once I've passed the driving test. I'm going to take that, pass that, and then I can be an investigator / medium. I can do both, hopefully. Failing that, if I can't do a mediumship course, I will take on someone to the paranormal group who is a medium. Now, when I say take on someone, I do not mean I pay them, because obviously we do this all on our own expense. And yeah, we don't have the money to pay someone a wage, so to speak. So I'd have to think very carefully who I could ask, who is not going to be like, oh, well, what money do we get? Blah, 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 blah.
You don't get any.
Because it's a voluntary thing. And then we can have connections with the spirit world via a medium and also the equipment. Because we've caught a lot with the equipment, I'm not going to lie. We've caught a hell of a lot with the equipment. But I would also like that other channel. I mean, I think I've got a few ideas who I might be able to ask, but I don't know. I really don't know at this point. I'm going to have a think about it over the next few days and weeks. But that depressing subject aside, I did tell you it was depressing at the start of the video. Oh, God, my eyes tearing up now.
You need to take a break?
No, I'm all right. But other than that depressing subject aside, doing Shepton Mallet in September, which I'm quite looking forward to. We did that last, I think it was 2021. It was during the lockdown. And obviously paranormal investigations were still allowed, surprisingly, because it's not a big group. It was a maximum of... My phone's just made a noise. Who's this? Whoever that is, I'll read it in a minute. Where was I? Oh yeah, Shepton Mallet. We're doing that. We did it in 2021 with a group called Oracle Paranormal Mediumship. It's a shame they're not still running, because I know they had a mediumship thing going, and I probably could have asked Claire from that group, but they've gone dark. They've been dark for about 3 years, so I'm probably wasting my time. But if they are still around, if Claire could get in contact with me, I'd appreciate it. If she's watching this, I'm not saying she is, because she was brilliant. In terms of what we might pick up there, in the past at Shepton Mallet, we have picked up a screen. We have picked up a wailing screen. We've also picked up a sob. Now, you've got a story there about a woman that was executed there, or due to be executed. She was wrongfully accused. I think she was accused of killing her husband. Don't quote me. This is where my brain screws up. And they were about to collect her from the cell that morning, and she had requested her dress the night before. And she was found in her cell wearing her wedding dress, dead. Stone cold dead before she was even executed. I think that's how the story goes. I'd have to check that for sure, but I'm sure that's part of it. Also, Shepton Mallet has had some notorious people in it as well. We might go back to Gloucester at some point. I don't know. But I want to wait till we're on the road because I want to hit bigger locations like Chillingham Castle. I want to go there. I really want to go there. It's on the Scottish-English border sort of way. So it's a long way off. And going there. Who's messaging me?
We should be on the road by next year because I'm doing my driving lessons this year, so we should have a car by next year. But so we might be able to do some of them next year by the end of it, more than the beginning.
Okay, right. I'll have a look at that in a minute. Where was I? Oh yeah, Shepton Mallet. So we know that that's happened before with a woman who was a wife, obviously. Was accused of killing her husband, and she was wearing her dress the night before, ready for the execution, and she turned up, she died. Mysteriously. And you can still hear her wailing sobs and all that in the, particularly we heard it in B Wing. A Wing was mainly American prisoners, if I recall, because it was used as a military prison. But before that, it goes right back to, I think it's 1610. You got the 1610 cells there. I ain't going in them because, as you all know, if you know me well enough, you know I hate things with 8 legs. I am talking about spiders. I burn them. I don't have anything I can show you that I use to burn them, but I normally use one of these and a deodorant can. Because, yeah, I don't like spiders. Ugh, just the way they walk makes me feel sick. And it's literally a small hole. I wouldn't even say it's half the size of my TV you can see in the background. It is so small, I'd have to get on my hands and knees and crawl. Which, I ain't doing that. You'd have to pay me. Not you personally, but whoever's in charge. But we might stick the camcorder there on a long, like, selfie stick maybe and see what we get. I ain't personally going in there though. No. Too claustrophobic for me. And too spider-phobic for that matter. But yeah, we're going to do all that. Sea Wing, I don't think's haunted as such. It was really quiet when me and Laurie was on Sea Wing. You know, but A and B are quite active. A is where the alarm went off. If you remember that video, me and Laurie was in the execution room and we're doing something with a RAM pod, talking to them, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden we hear this alarm going off and I'm thinking, oh God, has the fire alarm gone off? And we go to check. The fire alarm hasn't gone off. The fire alarm hasn't at all gone off. It's one of, because again, we went with Oracle Medium Paranormal Mediumship or whatever it's called. And it's one of Claire's laser devices. It's like a trigger. And it's gone off. And it went off on its own because no one was in A Wing at the time. Because the execution room in Shepton Mallet is between A and B. It's sort of bang in the middle. You've got A Wing here. Sorry, for the camera sake. You've got A Wing here. And then across, you've got B Wing. But in the middle, you've got the execution room. So that will be interesting. We've got an entirely new one in October. We've got Dorchester Prison, which isn't far from here. It's only Dorset. It's not too far, train journey, so I can cope. I don't know much of the history on that. I've not really researched it. I've not been in that frame of mind, obviously, with what I've just discussed. But I do look forward to it. I know it goes back at least 1700s. At least. Might even be 1800s, but it's still quite old. I only found out recently as well, where we went last year in November. Was it November, October time? Might have even been September. I can't remember. Dorchester Prison. Sorry, Gloucester Prison. I keep getting my prisons confused. That we went to Gloucester Prison. Only to find out, originally, where Gloucester Prison is, there was a castle there. And it's built on its ruins, which is interesting. So I might have to go back there again at some point. Again, when we're on the road. The only reason we're doing Shepton by train and Dorchester is because they're close. If I hadn't already paid for the one in November, I wouldn't be doing it. Because, yeah, it's just getting harder and harder traveling by public transport, carrying all the equipment. I mean, I don't have my bag in the room right now, but my bag is literally jam-packed with equipment. All neatly done so I can get to every bit I need. But it's also extremely heavy. And I've got to carry my backpack with all the equipment. I've also got to carry a tripod. I've also got to carry like a suitcase full of clothes for me and Laurie, because obviously Laurie has a stick. She can't really carry a massive suitcase. She can carry a plastic bag with our lunches in just about, but she couldn't wheel a suitcase around. So traveling wise, it'd be easier when we're on the road. And we may do all these again. The one in September is with an entirely new group, Paranormal Presence Investigations or something like that. I will get the name up at some point. I got to be sure now. Make sure I'm giving the right person the right shout out. There we go. Paranormal Present Investigation. I was right. Let me know. I got something right for once. The one in October is Haunted Happenings, but it's free because of their screw up at Margram in February. So that's something. The one in November is with, hang on, I've got so many things because, so many things have been happening. United in Paranormal is the one in November, and the guy I've been speaking to, he's quite a decent lad. So that should all go well. That's the one in North Wales. That'll be fun. That'll be a long train journey. God, it'll be our last long journey, I hope. I mean, if Laurie can get on the road before November, we'll drive there. Screw it. I'll be like, yeah, let's just drive that. Screw it.
Could you just answer me this, Bob?
What?
I'm literally taking my driving lessons in September. How the fuck am I going to get on the road by November?
Don't know. Who knows? If you work on it. I was speaking to someone about it, and they said you can literally do it all in 2 weeks if you have the money and the time.
Right. 1, I don't have the money.
No.
2, yeah, I have plenty of time to do it. So the time's not the issue.
So the answer is we probably will be travelling by train.
If I did, I wouldn't be able to buy a car anyway because that's quite costly to buy.
Well, but yeah, that's all coming soon. I mean, the whole situation about what's happening, it's like a massive stop. It's just like a windbreak, if you will, and I'm the wind, and I've been blocked. I can't even concentrate because before this was happening with my father, I was studying for my theory test and I was doing all that jazz. But unfortunately, I had to take a break because even when I was told what was going on before he had passed, I just couldn't concentrate. I still can't. I've got all the books on it ready, so I should be able to be all right at it. The thing that worries me is the hazard perception because it's about clicking on a certain time and you've got to get the timing right, otherwise you get a fail. So I've got to practice at that more than anything. So yeah, I'm mostly looking forward to Shepton Mallet. We also do have one April next year, which is Jamaican Inn. That is, again, I keep forgetting. My brain is like a scrambled egg right now. United in Paranormal, of course it is. So that'll be something to look forward to. And after that, we may go dark for a few months. Don't panic. We're not gone anywhere, so to speak. But it just means we are working on our other projects. Because aside from what's happened to me for my personal life, we want to get on the road. We've got to sort out our wedding, mine and Laurie's wedding, obviously. There's so much to do. I've got to help clear out the house of my old mum and dad's house. It's now just my mum's, I suppose. But it's a right nightmare, and yeah, I'm losing the will to live. On top of that, I'm still waiting to hear from a legal case that happened in February. That's all I'm saying. But it is what it is, I guess. Also, I've noticed, going off topic from the paranormal world, all these riots. I won't be a part of them. It's against my firm spiritual beliefs that we should riot and kill everyone. But I do see why people are doing it in some ways. So, no judgment on that one, but it just wouldn't be what I'd do. It just wouldn't be me. But it is what it is. So, for now, we're going to work on getting the house sorted. I'm going to work on trying to make contact with my father in the spirit world. I am trying hard as hell these days. I think I've got a really good connection somehow because I keep dreaming about him twice on the trot now. If it happens again tonight, I will inform said person of what it was about. But at the end of the day, I still don't know what it means. And yeah, it's one of those. This is why I'm going to get a mediumship course. I think I've been sent one by someone just now. I'm not sure, but I'll look into that when I come off this. But I just thought I'd let you know why the hell I've been absent. I've not been doing it because I've been participating in the riots, if that's what you thought. Far from it. It's not my style. Plus, I don't think Laurie's going to be very good in a riot with a stick, is she? So,
You'd be surprised what I can do.
typical for her to come out with a comment like that. Well, I suppose your stick would make a good weapon, but that's not the point, is it?
We won't say anymore.
We won't say anymore, she says. Oh dear. Rioting and setting fire to things, by the way, people's souls, absolutely fuck all. All you're doing, burning your houses, your buildings down, it's not going to help anyone. It's going to screw yourselves over.
It's not the housing they're burning down, it's the mosques.
Yeah, a building's a building at the end of the day. It's still a roof. So, all I'm going to say to you people out there rioting, it's your choice. I'm not going to tell you off or say you shouldn't do that. But just a hint, burning cars, burning shops, all that, it's not really going to help in the long run. It's just going to make the issue a lot worse. But I do see people stand, and I do see their point to some degree. And if I wasn't in this situation I am now, I may very well be a peaceful protester. When I say peaceful, I mean I will be there to show support, but I wouldn't do anything like violent, like smashing car windows, lobbing firebombs at the police is a big favourite up north at the moment. You know, I'd be a peaceful protester.
What, just like last night's was?
Probably. Although I don't believe everything you see on Spotted. I know where you've seen that because I saw it too.
Yeah,
But
I did see it.
to you guys rioting out there, try and keep it civil. I understand if things kick off and if you're attacked by someone from a minority, you have to defend yourself. I understand that. I would be the same. But what you should consider is the consequences, because we all know, I'm a firm believer in this, that there's a two-tier police system in place these days. They go easy on a lot of people. I'm not saying who.
Can you please try not to talk about it so
But
much, because I'm going to really slip here in a minute.
As I say, it's your choice if you want to do that. I wouldn't recommend it because you are going to get the consequences one way or the other eventually. This is why I've not bothered to do anything. I've stayed out of it. I'm like, nope, I'm Switzerland at this point. I'm Switzerland. I'm not doing this. But yeah, I thought I'd update you all with that. because, as I say, it was very personal, very depressing, very painful for me personally. Because me and my dad, we've done a lot together in the past. You know, we used to go out for drives, even when he was at work. He once took me to actually took me to two of his work sites. Might even be three, actually, because I remember a milk factory he was working on as well, or milk plant, something like that. Dairy plant, definitely. But he's also took me to a water treatment plant work site, and he took me to the Plymouth Dock work site. Of course, I couldn't go in because it's Devonport, so national security, all that stuff, even as a child. But it's he's been on borrowed time for a very long time because he had his cancer in 2008, or was it 2009? It's one of them. He got his throat cancer originally, and he went into remission. I want to say 2010. I want to say 2010, but I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember. It was a while ago. And he beat that, and it went. And that's why we went to Europe to celebrate, because he showed me some of the sites that he did, you know, when he worked in Europe. And he did show me a lot. He showed me a lot in like Dusseldorf. There's a place in Holland. It was just on the outskirts of Rotterdam. It was a viaduct. And he showed me that. Well, he couldn't show me it because it's not visible, but he showed me where its general location was. And various places in Germany. He also visited Amsterdam, and it broke his heart there because everything's gone that he knew at the time. This was 2011. I'm glad he's not here to see what it's like now, because it's probably even worse now. You know, all what he knew is gone. All the shops, the hotel, his flat he stayed at, the pubs, they're all gone. So it really broke his heart, and he just wanted to get the fuck out of Amsterdam at that time and head into Germany so we could start our World War II tour, because me and my dad are quite big on World War II. I still am. Again, I've just not been in the mood for it. And you see, that is another thing I was going to speak to my family about when it comes to the ashes. Amsterdam was where his heart is. Should they be scattered there? Maybe. I haven't really decided on that one. But it's another possible. But then again, as it broke his heart, would he want to be left there? It's a difficult one. It really is. I'll have a think about it, and I'll try and make a decision at some point. But
You don't need to rush decisions like that either.
It's not going to be a rush decision, as Laurie just mentioned. It's going to be one that that all three of us, me, my mother, and my sister, have to come together and discuss, because it's all connected. So, yeah.
Take as long as you need, even if it takes 5-10 years. It's still as long as you need.
Precisely. But I shall close this video now, because, blooming hell, I've been on for 52 minutes. Because obviously, I just wanted to get off my chest of why we've been absent from everything. I mean, Laurie's even been up when he was dying to see what he's like, and it wasn't nice to see, even before he passed. It was really horrible. But I've done what I can. I tried to make peace with him. Whether he heard me or not, I don't know. It's always going to haunt me. But I'm just going to focus on what needs to be focused on now.
I've not really left your side, to be fair, have I?
And go on from there. I will always remember him. I will never forget him. And part of him will always live in me, because I always have his music tastes, such as Jerry Rafferty, Dire Straits, Mark Knopfler, Eric Clapton, Bruce Hornsby and the Range, all that stuff. That's all my music that I listen to as well. Carlos Santana is another one. All his originally, and then he got me onto it, and I still listen to it to this day. You know. So that's one part of him that can never, ever, ever be destroyed, because it lives in me. That's another thing that's up in that loft, all his old cassette tapes. Jesus. Oh, just thinking about it gives me a headache. But it's the one part of him that will live on in me is his music tastes of what he's raised me on. I do have various photos of him and things like that. I don't really post it to paranormal groups because at the end of the day, it's personal. I'm only explaining so you know we've not gone dark. We've not gone completely bust or anything like that. We are still around. It's just sometimes life gets in the way. And with this, it's something that I cannot ignore. I've got to deal with it sooner rather than later. And this was the outcome. But as he's been cremated now, I've hopefully can start getting a bit better and move on from it. But it is what it is at the end of the day. It is the circle of life. You know, we're born, we live, we grow old, we die. And unfortunately, that is one thing of life that is true. Time can never be stopped. It's inevitable. We will all die eventually. One day, it won't be me doing this. It might be, who knows? If I ever have children, it might be my son or daughter who's going to announce these videos. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is, you know? But we all die. I will die eventually. Laurie will die. We're all going to die eventually. And it's this thing. You've got to accept that.
I've accepted it and I'm not dead.
It's like when you buy an animal, like a dog or a cat, depending on the breed. Like with me, I'm German Shepherds, Labradors, Golden Retrievers, that sort of breed. We have to accept the fact when we get that animal, even if it's from a pup, that animal is probably going to die before we do. It's just one of those things. You have to take it on the chin, and it's going to be painful when they leave you. Not going to lie. It hurt like hell when my first dog died. Who was, funny enough, in front of me. That box there, that's Hershey's Ashes. But it's just one of those things that we cannot control. And as sucky as it is, it's just way of life. Gandalf puts it really good in Return of the King. Death is just another path, one that we all must take. You know, I'm not much of a philosopher. That was more my father's gig, so to speak. But that's a good philosophy to have, because we're all going to go eventually, you know. And it's what we do here. You know, I mean, we've all done wrong at some point, all of us. I used to constantly be in trouble with the police, and God knows what else what. I was a right little toe rag as a teenager. But it's not like serious crimes, you know. We're only talking a few D&Ds and a few bar fights here, there, and everywhere. God, that brings back some memories. But when we cross over, it's what we choose. We judge ourselves, in other words, of where we go next. Now, as long as I don't come back here, I don't care. I do not want to be reborn here in this plane, because in some ways this country's hell. So, but that's all for me. Obviously, stay safe, look after yourselves, and we will see you in September. I might do a video before. I don't know, because I'll probably read up on it again just to get a feel for the prison. I do have the map somewhere as well, which is also quite handy to have. But that is our next event, which is in September. We would have done other stuff had this family emergency not come up. But unfortunately, that is life. It's just one of those things. It is what it is. You can't stop it. It's the same that you can't stop the wave that goes out from the tide. You can never call it back because a different one comes afterwards. So that is what we're dealing with at the moment. So we should all see you in September. So stay safe, everyone. Good hunting and take care. Bye for now.